Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. It's Runeterra Day, it's Lazy Sunday, and we're going to be bringing out a Swain and Zilean control deck for you guys this week. It's something I've been playing around with a little bit. There are a couple of tweaks I may end up making. I know I keep saying this every week that, maybe I'll change some things about this deck midway through, and then I never do, but I do mean it this time, as this deck I think is a little bit more experimental. But the whole point of the Swain Zilean control deck here is supposed to be that it's going to allow me to just slow the game down, remove troublesome opposing threats, try to build up to one of my win conditions, and then kind of close the game out from there, generally relying on the Swain or some of his other cards to close the game out. But the Zilean gives you so much value that you have the option of going for the Dome as well. So let's go ahead and do the card by card rundown here real quick. First up, Ancient Preparations at 1 mana. Now, this is a pretty decent card. It allows you to predict, start sculpting the top of your deck as soon as the game starts, and it gives you the clockling afterwards in order to provide some early game defense or potentially aggression if you're in the control mirror. So, Ancient Preparations is a pretty good card to have in this deck. 3 copies of Ravenous Flock, absolutely amazing card, this one. This deals 4 to a unit, and the only hoop you have to jump through is it has to be damaged or stunned. So if you block that unit, if you were able to hit it with any degree of targeted damage, Ravenous Flock for 1 mana is doing another 4 to it. The stunned isn't going to come into play that much in this deck in particular, but doing damage to things is super easy, especially with Zilean Time Bomb, so Ravenous Flock is certain to pull its weight in this deck. 3 Chronomancer, I played him before. He's a good defensive early card. He predicts, allowing you to sort of sculpt the top of your deck. A lot of good things that he does in this deck, especially in conjunction with 3 copies of Imperial Demolitionist. Now, I have a lot of cards with high health totals in this deck, which means that Demolitionist effect will pretty much never kill something of mine, and it'll always allow me to just get 2 to the enemy nexus, allowing me to either chip away or potentially go for the Dome if they're low enough. 3 copies of Preservarium. This is a really nice landmark that just straight up gives you 2 cards, so it's really strong. Opponents usually never remove it either, so you're gonna get those 2 cards, and allows you to just kind of accelerate through your deck looking for your answers. 3 copies here of Zilean. Now, I haven't played this champion yet before. Once you play him, he creates 4 time bombs in your deck and then predicts. The time bombs are landmarks with countdown 1 that do 1 to everything when they explode, except your stuff. So it's a good way of sort of getting a ton of damage off, which means it synergizes with Swain. It also deals damage to the enemy nexus, so if I have a flipped Swain on the battlefield, this can trigger that effect. The biggest thing, though, is the flipped Zilean gives you so much value. I cannot underestimate by just immediately allowing you to start playing out all of the cards you just played and just really go ham with it. So he guarantees that you're not going to run out of gas in the later stages of the game if you can flip him. Usually he dies by then because people know how powerful he can be and you have to find all the time bombs, but generally speaking, if you can flip a Zilean, it's really strong. 3 Death Sand, I've talked about it before. This is 2 to an enemy, 1 to the Nexus. This counts as 3 damage for Swain in total. It chips away a little bit at the Nexus, and it allows you to remove some backline threats, so it's quite nice. 3 copies of Fervor, we've talked about this as well. This is 6 total damage for Swain's purposes. Again, I have a lot of high health units, so the odds of Fervor killing something is not very high, but if it would kill something, maybe I can play it as sort of a way to negate an opponent's removal spell in that regard and get some value out of it. 3 copies of Sai Scout. This is one of the cards I'm a little iffy about. I figured Sai Scout is a 2/4, which means she synergizes with things like Fervor and Imperial Demolitionist. She allows me to predict, so I can go digging for time bombs or whatever answer I might need. If I do pick one of the time bombs, she gets elusive, so I can maybe chip in for a little bit of elusive damage or have a block for a Teemo or Zoe. Again, not entirely sure if I like this card, but we're playing her to see how she turns out. 3 copies of Xenotype Researcher. You may notice this deck is one of the more consistent decks I've built here. Xenotype Researchers is pretty nice, especially given that I have so much predicting, allowing me to accelerate to those random allies that have the bonus stats, so she's pretty decent in that regard. Also, she's just a 3/3 for 3, so, you can't really sniff at that too much. She does defense and offense about equally well, and on top of that, you're really hoping her buff goes on to a valuable unit. 3 copies of Rite of Negation. We're playing control, so it totally makes sense to have this spell in the deck. I have a lot of sort of units that I can deal damage to with things like Fervor and then Rite of Negation them away once they get to a health total where they're no longer useful, and I can always destroy mana gems if I absolutely need to get this off, so it's a good spell overall. 2 copies of Weight of Judgment. This is a weird one, but I really actually like how this card is performed in testing. This does 7 damage to a follower. This pretty much destroys any follower at all that you're able to cast this on. Like, there are very few cards in the game that survive getting Weight of Judgmented. Obviously, it doesn't hit champions as well. It only does 2 to them, but that means that if they are playing a control-y backline champion, like the Twisted Fate, the Fizz, the Zoe, any of those kind of cards, Weight of Judgment can just straight up kill them. It obviously doesn't do you a whole lot if they're playing beefier champions like Garen or Tryndamere, but there's a lot of utility and flexibility in what Weight of Judgment does, despite being a 4-mana slow spell. Also, dealing 7 damage to a follower almost guarantees that your Swain's going to come down flipped, so it's pretty decent in that regard as well. 3 copies of Swain. Swain is the other win condition of the deck here, as he's almost always going to come down flipped, by the way, because this deck does so much damage. But the biggest thing is once he does flip, Swain really is able to just sort of get in there, do a ton of damage, remove your opponent's ability to fight back, and just kind of close out the game on his own. We have lots of ways of dealing non-combat damage to the enemy nexus, allowing Swain to start stunning things. He's fearsome, so if their remaining things are too weak to block him, then he's dealing 3 to everything and the enemy nexus. Like, there's a ton of stuff that this card does that I really like, so that's why he's going to be in the deck as the main win condition here. We're also running a single copy of Basilisk Bloodseeker. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I'm trying it out. I may end up swapping it out for another copy of the Leviathan at some point because I think Leviathan is just better, but I figure Bloodseeker is a 7 mana, deal 1 to itself and deal, 4 to an enemy at some point. If there are other cards that I don't care about as much as keeping the 7-4 Overwhelm, I can always have it deal 1 to a different ally entirely. So 7 mana for 4 damage to something isn't great, but also if I do have other targets, Bloodseeker gets a lot more valuable. Again, I don't know, it's not as consistently good as the Leviathan, but I figured we'll give it a shot. And finally, the Leviathan is here at 1 copy. It's a 5/8 with Overwhelm. When I play it, I can go digging for a Swain, which is great. And the biggest thing here is it deals 1 to the enemy nexus 3 times. This not only puts them on a bit of a clock, as they're going to take 3 damage every turn, but it also means that if I have a flipped Swain on the battlefield, I'm just stunning a ton of things off the back of the Leviathan going. And because the Leviathan draws me a Swain, I'm almost guaranteed to get that effect. So, a very powerful card here, and realistically, Basilisk Bloodseeker, I think, is a bit of a bad card to include when I could be running another one of these bad boys, but again, we'll kind of see how it goes in the games today. So that is going to be the deck. I tried to keep it a little bit shorter than normal for you guys, so let's go ahead and hop into the queue and get some games going. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, up against Lyrink, who's playing the Shyvana, Aurelion Sol, Zoe. We've seen this deck before a lot. It's sort of the dragon deck, but running the Zoe for some early game aggression, getting a lot of value out of her ability to Nexus Strike, and this hand is not entirely great, but I do think I'm going to mulligan away at least one of the Zileans and hope for maybe an Ancient Preparations. No Ancient Preparations, but we do have the Xenotype Researchers, and banking the spell mana is not necessarily a bad thing here, so I'm pretty happy with this. Now, the opponent's deck is going to be actually pretty obnoxious to deal with. The Shyvana package has gotten very strong since the Shyvana buffs, and a lot of people are playing dragons in order to deal with all of the blade dancing that's going around, because dragons just kind of eat the blades for breakfast and get bigger for it, so see how it goes. Now, I think it makes sense here to just come down with the Zilean and get those time bombs into the deck. This is a pretty safe board state as well, so I don't think there's anything they can do to get rid of him. We'll take the Ancient Preparations here as well. And he's going to come down, unfortunately, with Dragon Guard Lieutenant. Now, I do have the option of Death Handing it on the next turn. If he does try to remove the Zilean with something like a combat trick, I could totally see happen. Of course, we're going to draw the Ancient Preparations. We did predict into it. He's got 2, unfortunately. So that's a little sad. We will go ahead and predict, maybe try to find the Time Bomb here. Instead, we're probably just going to take the second Preparations, just keep the Predict package coming. That's going to give me some 2/2s to maybe block with. I'm just happy he didn't come down with the usual Shyvana combo where you're able to play out the... It's the 1/1 that makes Dragon Allies cost 2 less. He is going to Sharp Sight. Unfortunately, that means there's nothing I can do here. I was considering that possibility, so we're just going to try and reduce the amount of Nexus damage that we're going to take and just get rid of one of the Dragon Guard Lieutenants. So he's going to get taken out. We will, unfortunately, lose the Zilean, but I got a Sharp Sight for it, so I think I'm okay with that. I don't feel too bad. So let's go ahead and play out the Xenotype Researchers. This is important to get out early so I can get the buffs going onto the rest of the cards in the deck. I'm sitting on another one as well, so if we double up on a Xenotype Researchers with like a Swain, that's pretty good. There's the Dragon Chow. So a dragon is almost certainly going to be coming down next. I'm going to go ahead and Ancient Preparations and try to prepare for that, and we will pick up the Noxian Fervor onto the top of the deck. And I don't really want to go to combat here at all. There's no beneficial blocks or beneficial attacks for me, unfortunately. He's not going to block with the Dragon Chow, I can tell you that right now, but we'll go ahead and get our Clockling. I would expect this to be the Shyvana right now. There's just no reason for it not to be. He wouldn't play the Dragon Chow otherwise. It's the Screeching Dragon. Okay, so the Screeching Dragon is very large, which is pretty good for him. I do have, however, the Weight of Judgment, so we're just going to straight up kill it. I'm not playing the Xenotype Researchers here because I do just need to deal with this while it's still small enough for me to actually kill. And even if he does have like a Sharp Sight to make it survive this Weight of Judgment, it still will die to anything it challenges. So I feel like this is a pretty decent play, even if he tries to like combat trick out something like a single combat in order to have it strike something and get the bonus toughness. It won't matter. I'm doing 7 damage to it. Like, that's how crazy good this card is. He's thinking about it, but I don't think there's anything he can do. There's no plays he can make. So, yeah, you see the Swain progress there. He almost immediately levels up off of dealing 7 to 1 thing. So, that's pretty good. Also, that's a tempo swing. He played 2 cards for that combo, and I just Weight of Judgmented it, and he's passing because he's like, well, shoot, I can't do anything about that. Into the Flock. So I think what I want to do is start trying to get in for some damage here. I'm assuming his Dragon Guard Lieutenant will block out the Xenotype Researchers. This is totally fine for me. Yeah, I'm totally alright with this. We're going to be able to get rid of him. We'll get in for some damage with the Clocklings. See what he wants to do here. He will come down with Shyvana, which is pretty sad. I'm going to try and hold on to some mana here in order to play Flock and Fervor both, but I want to see if he tries to do anything off the back of this. As he does have 5 mana, I would expect him to be running the Coordinated Assault. I don't think that's actually the name, but it's the 2 unit strike 1 unit card. So I'm going to try and hold off and see if we can't bait out some combat tricks. Okay, there's the Dragon Guard Lieutenant. He's on 3 mana, which makes me almost wonder if I should just... Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do this. We're going to just try to get some damage onto the Shyvana now. You absolutely have to deal with Shyvana as early as possible, because if that unit starts getting big, she will run away with the game, like 100% of the time. So you really need to deal with it. I figured as much, but this is fine because she is still going to be damaged now. So I don't get the value off of that, unfortunately, but also he's down to 1 mana. There's nothing he can do about the Flock that's coming afterwards. I had already committed to playing the Flock to remove her, so I'm totally okay with this. Absolutely nuts. That card's 1 mana and it does 4 damage to something. So we've limited the Shyvana. He is ahead on cards, unfortunately, but I'm hoping if we can hit a Zilean. That's not a Zilean, and he's coming down to the Screeching Dragon. So here's the Xenotype Researchers. We're going to get the buffs going. And this is going to be the dragon stacking up here. There's nothing I can really do about it. We will go ahead and drop the Time Bomb because it draws you a card when it does get played into our final Xenotype Researcher. So the rest of the deck is going to be really big. I just have to be able to get to play the rest of the deck. So here goes the bomb. Not really that relevant, but it's a little extra damage onto something. Here's my Xenotype Researchers. Okay, I'm ready for the rest of the deck to be really large, but my opponent's sitting on such a big card advantage here that I'm not feeling too hot about this. Yeah, he's sitting on mana as well. I don't want to risk it. Because if I try to play the Noxian Fervor aggressively, he'll just have his dragon strike something, strike the thing that I'm trying to kill with the Fervor, and it just won't end up working out. The Demolitionist is the recipient of one of the Xenotype Researchers buffs, so that's pretty nice for me. This does actually make it pretty scary for the Screeching Dragon to deal with, so I will take that. He's got another one, though, unfortunately. So we'll drop the Demolitionist. We'll try to get in a little bit of extra damage onto the Nexus. Really could be looking for a Swain here, or a Leviathan, right? Because Leviathan is a Swain, fundamentally. Okay, yeah, he absolutely does not want to attack. So what I'm going to do instead is pop like this. That way his dragon isn't striking, and I can kill the other one. He's on 7 mana, so he's got plenty of things he can do here if he wants to, but I figure if I can get a card at the very least, that's not too bad. I'll basically kind of force him to have it. He's thinking about it, but I've got no cards in hand, so if he wants to do it, I mean, I can't stop him, so I'm surprised he's gone to time on this. Unless there's a card he was really hoping to hold on to for, like, a Shyvana. He's going to let it resolve, actually. So his dragon doesn't strike, and I get to keep my Clockling, and I lost a unit that was going to die anyways and give him more value. Okay, there's the Fangs. This is a card a lot of people have started putting in decks because it replaces itself with the Invoke proc here, and it's a 3/2 with lifesteal, which is really good, especially where he's at right now, down to 10 life. Again, I'm surprised he's sitting here thinking about what he wants to do. He's got plenty of mana. I'm guessing he's got something playable. He probably has a Sharp Sight or a Single Combat would be my guess, because he hasn't passed back yet and he's on 3 spell mana. Those cards are both playable at 3, so into a plus... He is a 10-13 Zilean. Oh my goodness. He actually got the buff from every single one of them. I'm going to take the Preservarium to try and draw into some more cards, but oh my goodness, Zilean is such a beater. Also, because he's a second Zilean, I have put another 4 Time Bombs into the deck, so there's 7 floating around right now. Unfortunately, he's got the Solari Sunforger. I don't even want to bother swinging into that because he's got lifesteal this round, but he'll lose it afterwards. Obviously, if my opponent has any degree of strike spells, like there's nothing I can do about that. But he doesn't have any, or at least he isn't willing to play them, so that is going to be the lifesteal down. We'll Preservarium into another card. Yeah, he's just going to try and sacrifice the dragon to the Altar of Zilean. Oh, he's going to hush the Zilean! No, it's been so long since I've seen that card. Unfortunate. So Zilean is going to die. He was potentially the big beat stick I needed, but he's going to get killed here. The dragon's going to get bigger. The lifesteal is going to come through, but at least we have Preservarium to start drawing into. Maybe? No. None of our answers. We're going to draw everything except that. Here's another lifesteal card. This is like a super common deck theme because you just have so much lifesteal. It doesn't matter if you take a beating early. You can just heal it all back later. So into a time bomb. Now this does replace itself, so I will play it because I just need to see cards. Into a Preservarium, we're just going to be drawing the whole deck. I'm really hoping on a Swain here, as I think that's the only hope I have. What has he got? If this is the coordinated assault, my... Oh, it's Equinox. Okay, and that just permanently silences her, so that's pretty good. He must have gotten that off of his Invoke. We'll Preservarium to draw another card into a Zilean. He's big, but he's not quite as big as the last one. We'll play him, though. Get some more Time Bombs. So we have, I think, like 10 or so Time Bombs in the deck now. I think we'll take the Rite of Negation. There should be some things I can do. So we're really digging. I mean, I think he's seen a lot of his cards. Oh, I'm still at 32 because I keep shuffling Time Bombs into the deck, but we're seeing stuff, but we're not seeing any of our finishers here. There's the Concerted Strike. I pretty much figured this was coming, so unfortunately the dragon's going to get even bigger. He's going to get the lifesteal because there was a strike there from the Radiant Guardian. And I'm in a bit of a troublesome spot here. I could Rav Flock to kill the Screeching Dragon because the Time Bomb's going to go off, but whatever. So we'll draw a card here. We knew that was going to be the Rite of Negation. Time Bomb fires. We get a little bit of extra damage into the Chronomancer, who's also got the buff. Everything in my deck at this point is going to have the buff, so that's kind of nice. I will do this because I just want the dragon dead. And if I can preserve what little units I have, that's pretty decent for me. Obviously, he has answers. He has to. So he's got the single combat. We will go ahead and Rite of Negation that. We can destroy a mana gem because I don't need it at this point. Like, I can play everything in my deck. So we will stop that. We'll Flock the dragon. He's going to crash in. The biggest thing here is if he's got an Aurelion Soul, I don't know that there's anything I can do to bring this game back. Okay, there's the Leviathan. So we know we're going to hit that on the next turn. That'll draw us into a Swain. I can't play the Swain on the same turn, unfortunately, but this gives me a lot of potential options. Yeah, so draw into that and into a Sai Scout. We'll go ahead and drop the Leviathan. This will help me pick up the Swain, who is a 6/9. He's gotten one benefit from the Xenotype Researchers. He's got a blue buff. Okay, that's not that scary, and I'm not even going to bother with the Leviathan because I want to get value from its effect here. I think that's more worth it than trying to swing in and get some damage, especially because he'll just chump with a blue Sentinel and then get his mana gem. That does nothing for him right now, but he kind of doesn't care if the blue Sentinel dies. So it is his attack token. So I'm almost wondering if I should hold... No, because we do want the Swain down for the end of the round. So what we'll probably do is play the slow, drop the Sai Scout instead, see if I can bait out any removal spells he's got, because he knows I'm sitting on the Swain. And then at the end of the round, then we play out Swain. He's going to be pretty beefy as well. He'll be a 7/10 because he will flip as soon as he comes down. He's not going to play anything. Okay, so we'll Sai Scout. We'll go ahead and predict. I will pick up the Time Bomb here. So that's on top. That'll help us get a little bit of extra damage in. And again, if we can Time Bomb into another Time Bomb, then the first Time Bomb's going off immediately. Swain's getting some value. And he's on 13 mana. The biggest concern I have here is Aurelion Soul into the Skies Descend. It'll be an Aurelion Soul as the Skies Descend, but that's like the only thing I can think of that he's sitting on. Yeah, he wants to catch the Swain with all of his mana. So I will try to see what he's got. He knows I have a card in hand. And Swain's pretty beefy, so I don't think Concerted Strike does not remove Swain. If he has, like, Concerted Strike and single combat, maybe he can do it, but he's just going to pass it back. Here we go. So we're going to get the stuns in because of Swain's effect. And everything he controls is stunned now, so we just go to combat. He's dead to this. did he not have anything else? We've also got the Fervor here on the off chance we need it, plus time bomb damage, potentially. I'm just shocked that he allowed that to happen. Like, if you had to have something here. See if this is the card he drew for turn. Okay, he's not playing it. But you gotta do something here, bud. You're dead otherwise. Okay, he's playing up 2, so he's gonna sharp sight it, but it can't block. So this is a concerted strike to try and kill the Swain off. I think he's still dead, though. Because we're going to get in for 5. You know what? We will do this just to be on the safe side. Oh, he's going to get some lifesteal. That's the biggest thing. He's going to heal 6 off of the strike. So whatever. We'll have the Swain at least give me some value in death here by using the Noxian Fervor to get an extra 3 to the dome. So doing my math here, we've got 9... 12, 17 damage. He's going to be back to 20, unfortunately. We're not getting close enough. And he's going to single combat. Okay, so he's healing a ton because just because of how lifesteal works. Unfortunately, yeah, so Swain dies. He's back to 20. He's overhealing by a little bit, but I feel like he needed to do that. We do have a little bit of corkscrew we can give him, though, with a time bomb, drawing me into another card. Not a Swain, unfortunately, but we have a Chronomancer. Can I predict a Swain? I can. So we will predict the Swain here. And he's now on 1 card in hand. Time bomb goes off. We get another 3 damage in. So we're getting him low, but as long as he still has the lifesteal from Radiant Guardian, he's what? He's played 2 single combats, 2 concerted strikes. There's the Aurelion Soul. And that's pretty scary for me. Oh, the game is glitching out a little bit. Oh, they changed how his invoke particles work. I can't say I'm a fan of that. I can't tell if that was a bug or not. We'll come down to the other Swain. He's not nearly as large as the last one because he didn't get the Xenotype Researchers buff, but that's okay. I don't think he really wants to attack here because if she dies, maybe he just wants to guarantee the lifesteal. I might be getting myself baited. I'm a little hesitant. Okay, he doesn't have it, so he's going to heal 4, but she's dead most importantly, and that means everything is getting stunned again on the next round because of Leviathan. And unfortunately, Aurelion Soul Spell Shield doesn't save him because that's not a skill. Okay, we go back in. Yeah, okay. Now, it was his last gasp, hoping he could get something off of the invoke, but we managed to get it at the end of the day. A long, grindy game, but then again, we are playing control. It took me a lot longer to find a removal, any of my finishers, than I expected, but we managed to make it happen at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and hop into game 2, see if we can pull it off again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here against Naperville, playing a Diana Tarek Shadow Isles deck. This is weird. This is not conformed to any known archetypes, so to speak. So I'm interested to see what he's playing. I would guess it's some degree of control deck. Probably just trying to soup up the Diana and then play the Tarek and make the Diana invincible, that sort of thing. I could totally see what he wants to come down with, but he's got nothing, and I'm a control deck. I will totally take that. So we'll bank up the mana. We can play out my Zilean here, so he'll start putting the time bombs to the deck. And what can we predict into? Ancient Preparations. This is very familiar, I'm sure. And he's got nothing, so I guess we'll hit him for 1 with Zilean. Cool. Then again, he is playing a Nightfall deck, so he does sort of have a lot of options in terms of banking spell mana and then playing out a whole bunch of cards at the same time and getting a bunch of Nightfall procs. If he comes out with the Diana, I'm kind of sad. Instead, he's going to play Out of the Way. So we do fortunately have the Rite of Negation here for the Out of the Way. This is going to set us back a turn mana-wise, but it was super, super critical that we counter this card. That does explain what his deck's theme is, which is basically pump up the Diana, and then thanks to Out of the Way, she never loses those bonuses. So I'm just going to go ahead and get in with the Zilean again. I mean, I guess he's getting value from swinging in. Does he have the second Out of the Way now? Is the question. Instead, he's going to come down with Tarek. That's probably fine. We'll hit up an Ancient Preparations, try to get a prediction going. I guess we'll take the Fervor. I think that makes the most sense. And then we'll Demolitionist to get a little bit of Nexus damage here as well, thanks to Black Powder Grenade. Zilean is plenty healthy, so this isn't a big problem. And the biggest thing here is I do have this Ravenous Flock to deal with the Tarek. As long as I get any damage on the Tarek, like, I can just kill him. So, assuming, of course, my opponent doesn't have something like Bastion. Okay, Stalking Shadows, trying to go find a follower. He had plenty of targets for this as well. Does he want to flood? Okay, he's got the Diana. He's only got 2 mana, though, so I think I'm just going to Death's Hand her. I don't think he has anything he can do for 2 mana in those colors that protects her. Well... Oh, Pale Cascade! That's right, okay. That's fine, though, because she will count as having been damaged. So, unfortunately, I do have to let her go to combat, but I also can just kill her with the Ravenous Flock on the backswing. Yeah, so she's going to grab the Zilean, of course. She's going to get tough, but it's irrelevant because I do have the ability to just kind of shut her down. I'll take the 3 from the Tarek. I kind of want to keep the Demolitionist down. Goodbye, Diana. And Tarek's going to crash in. But I did preserve the Zilean. Now, I haven't seen any time bombs yet, unfortunately, but... hopefully we'll see some soon. There's the clockling off of the Ancient Preparations, and there's Time Bomb number 1. So we'll drop it because it's going to give me another card. Weight of Judgment. Okay, so we're sitting on both copies. Not super happy about that, but I guess that's probably fine. Okay, and he's got a Sparklefly. That's a pretty good defensive option here for him. We're going to go ahead and go in, because if he does block with the Tarek, I can kill the other unit with Fervor to just remove Tarek. Sparklefly will be a little bit of annoying healing, but as long as he doesn't start playing like a bunch of pump spells on it, I think I'll be okay. Okay, he's got a Pale Cascade. So Tarek is... so, biggest thing here is Pale Cascade replaces itself. The problem is, now if he has another Pale Cascade, which he can play, he can save the Tarek. I'm going to try for it. At the very least, I can get all of his Pale Cascades and sort of make him play inefficiently. He's not playing them on offense with Tarek. This is going to be it right here. Oh, he's going to Glimpse Beyond. Okay, so I think I get to keep my Clockling then because there's no target for Fervor anymore. Oh, I think we lagged out there. Okay, there he goes. Yeah, okay, I do still lose my Clockling. That's fine, though. I have the Swain Flip on deck. This bomb's going to go off, which isn't too relevant because I'm not even killing anything off it. But Zilean has now seen a bomb detonate. So I think this turn it makes sense to play both Xenotype Researchers. There's the second out of the way, and I don't have the ability to stop it this time. So he gets the ludicrous KDA card. The biggest thing here is it replaces itself too. He's sitting on a lot of cards in hand, but we'll Xenotype Researchers, and I have 2 Weight of Judgments to hopefully do something. Actually, he's got a 2-mana card. Ah! He has an unkillable Sparklefly because of how out of the way works. That's pretty good. I literally can't do anything to this anymore. This is an invincible butterfly that will heal him for 1 whenever it attacks or blocks. That's absurd. Wow. Okay, cool. I think what we're gonna do here is Basilisk Bloodseeker. I unfortunately can't kill it, so it's gonna vent its fury on the Sparklefly, but at least it's 7 damage to the dome. Yeah, so she goes down. I do literally no damage. Well, I do 4 damage, but unfortunately the Sparklefly can't die. So, at this point, though, I can just go to combat because the Bloodseeker will get in for 6, even if he blocks the Sparklefly. Technically, it's 5 after the Sparklefly healing, but, you know, that's sort of a moot point. So we will swing like so. I want to keep the Zilean safe because if I can get that second bomb down, we'll be in a good spot. Mark of the Isle, so it's ephemeral into a Pale Cascade, so he will be able to actually kill the Bloodseeker, and unfortunately he's taking no damage off of this either, and all those bonuses I think stick. I don't think Ephemeral can kill it if it can't take damage or die. Like, can almost always beats can't almost always beats can in these sorts of games. Diana comes down. This is the biggest thing with the out of the way. Whenever he sees a Nightfall trigger at all, Diana will just increasingly get bigger and can't lose quick attack. So yeah, not being able to stop that second out of the way was pretty unfortunate. He's got a goat as well. He's running the gem package because gems are really good. Okay, now we have the Rite of Negation, sadly. I do want to try and remove the Diana with the double Weight of Judgment if I can. I think we're just going to take the 7. That's fine. Okay, can I Weight of Judgment the Diana? He can gem her afterwards, but he's out of Pale Cascades. I know this. He's out of Pale Cascades. Get the Diana down to 1. And then I have to play the second Weight of Judgment off of this as well, just to get rid of her, because she will take over the game. Spirit Leech, but it can't die, so he just gets to draw 2. That seems pretty good. Second Weight of Judgment, does it resolve? Please? No. Okay, he's got a Glimpse Beyond. I will take it. I will take it. That's totally fine. I'm alright with that card fizzling. I'm not in a good spot at all. He's got an invincible butterfly that's dealing 4 to me every turn and healing him 4. Like, I can't do anything about that, but... And there's the Tarek. So now he has an invincible tough butterfly if he so desires. I needed the Swain, but we're gonna Preservarium into a Preparations. That's not gonna save me. But maybe I can hit a bomb off the top and then flip the Zilean and then probably still lose to the butterfly, but hey. Yeah, I didn't even think about the Lamb's Respite on Out of the Way. I mean, it's actually been a while. That's a pretty good combo as well. Okay, so now the Mask Mother, I think it can still die because it just gets stats and keywords. A second Zilean does not really help me here. I guess we'll take the Chronomancer because Chronomancer will allow me to predict and hopefully find a better card on top. Okay, this is going to be a death mark, isn't it? There's almost no reason to play Darkwater Scourge when you don't have the attack token unless you plan on death marking. Or potentially Lamb's Respiting. Or, you know, Mask Mother. That works too. Okay, the game is over and I've lost. This deck is crazy. I have actually not considered this. It's been a long time since I've seen a deck that actually plays Out of the Way. Like, it kind of, you saw people play it every now and again, but it just never really took off. But, like, this deck, making use of Mask Mother, making use of Lamb's Respite, like, actually saucing. That's pretty cool. I'm dead here, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's actually a way for me to stay alive. Yeah, he just kind of goes to combat. He's going to heal for his whole health bar. Even if I block for 7 of it here, I do just die. So, yeah. You know, you got it, bud. Super neat deck. I can't say I saw it coming. I'm happy I had the Rite of Negation for the first Out of the Way, but coming down to the second, and I didn't have an answer for that. He drew too many cards. Just, yeah. So, another game, though, where I didn't see any of my finishers. I did see the Basilisk Bloodseeker, but it kind of didn't do anything. Even if it had killed the butterfly, it's just too weak on defense. So I think what I'm going to do is I will take this back into the lab. I'm going to swap out the Basilisk Bloodseeker for another Leviathan, and we're going to try to go from there. Because Leviathan's a bomb. Bloodseeker I just kind of feel like doesn't do anything. So I'll be right back, guys, and then we'll be hopping back in the queue. Here we go, guys, going into Game 3 against Keedher, playing the Sejuani Gangplank, sort of aggro, sort of late game, mid-rangey deck. Out of curiosity, if you guys are interested, turns out the reason I was playing Bloodseeker is I didn't actually have another Leviathan. So we've rectified that. I have purchased another Leviathan. I figure, whatever. I like how this deck kind of works. Opening with the preparations for the first time. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll get a Preservarium on the top. And what has he got? He's just going to Warning Shot me, probably into the 3/3. Yep. Jagged Butcher, and I don't actually have anything I can do here. Because he will go to combat before I have the ability to play a unit. I guess if he does greed out, yeah, he's just going to go to combat. So that's fine. I can't stop that. We will play a Preservarium, draw myself a card into Sai Scout. Not the greatest, but sure. He's stealing a card from me thanks to Black Market Merchant. Hopefully it was nothing good. I'm really hoping it wasn't anything good because there are a bunch of things he could have gotten here. Does it make sense to play the Xenotype Researchers? I think instead what I'm going to do is play the Sai Scout, try to grab something. We will, I think, take the Ancient Preparations on top, just because it's going to give her Elusive, and I can predict again when the Ancient Preparations comes down. Okay, he pulled an Imperial Demolitionist. That's totally fine. He's going to get some damage in. That's a pretty good card, actually, from to rip, thanks to how his deck works, which he wants to deal damage to me in 5 separate rounds as fast as possible. That also does give him another Plunder proc, and I am up against it here. Oof. We're going to draw into that Ancient Preparations, though, thanks to Preservarium, on top of our other card for turn, which is a Preservarium. And here he goes. So, we'll block here, we'll block here. We're going to take 4, and I don't think I can stop that. Unless I wanted to block like so, and then do this. And then, I don't know how big a deal it is to stop his Plunder proc. So I think this is probably fine. We'll see if there are any spells he wants to play or if he's just looking for the Plunder proc. Okay, so we will at least get this. He is getting in for some Nexus damage, which is kind of sad, but again, I can't really stop it too much. He only needs to do it in one more turn in order to have that Sejuani and Gangplank flip, and both of those units will just straight up kill me if they come down flipped. Okay, he at least doesn't have any punish for the... Like, he's not coming down with the Gangplank or Sejuani because he knows he can get it on the next round. We're sitting on a lot of removal, but unfortunately not a lot of anything else. I will try to get in for 2 elusive. And I think at this point it might make sense to just try and hang on to as much of my mana as I can for next turn in order to have removal. This is the warning shot, which I can't do anything about, so there's the flip, so he's coming out with Gangplank. Yep. And the thing about Gangplank is if Gangplank attacks even once, you lose. The game is over. The biggest problem here is I actually can't do enough damage to kill him in a single round. So, I think I'm dead. I'm almost positive I am dead. How much sense does it make to kill the barrel with Death's Hand? Just because he's just going to get another barrel on the next turn. That's the most brutal thing about it. So he's still got the barrel. I think I need to play a block. I absolutely need to play a second blocker here. We're going to draw another card off the Preservarium. We're going to get a Clockling. I have maybe a chance if I can either Rite of Negation. We're into all of our Fervors, which will be useful because none of my units are going to survive the Gangplank going to combat. I'd be surprised if he didn't just go straight to combat, unless he's got the Sejuani, at which point he's greeting, but also he can... Okay, he's greeting, but he can afford to do this because he's got a flipped Gangplank and Sejuani down. Wow. Okay. This is really bad. This is, generally speaking, what the kids like to call extremely, ludicrously awful for me. I can't kill the Gangplank either, but we can at least get rid of the barrels? So there's that? I have a big hand advantage, not that it matters, because I've only got 11 life, and here he comes. And the biggest thing here is because of how Sejuani works, she's going to trample over the Sai Scout, and then all my guys are going to be probably dead. This is only doing 1 to everything, so theoretically, can I live? No, because she's not going to do any damage to him because of the Sejuani, sadly. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm just dead. Whatever? We'll maybe stop some damage? I think mathematically I am just dead here. Because I'm taking 6, I'm taking... Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay, yeah, well, I mean, that dude played that deck with, like, mechanical precision. Just every turn, get in for damage, get in for damage, get in for damage, into the turn 5 Gangplank flip, into the turn 6 Sejuani flip. Like, I don't know what I could have done there. I really don't. So, either way, we got stomped there. We're going to do one more to try and bring it back around. So, yeesh. Here we go, guys, for the last game of the day against Shopping Malls, playing a TF Zilean control deck, so taking a little bit of a different spin on the control, but still playing control nonetheless. Not a huge fan of this hand. I can't say I'm actually impressed with the Sai Scout. I'm going to have to find a different card to replace her with, because I just feel like she's not doing enough for the deck, but this hand's decent. I would have liked to have seen a Weight of Judgment in order to deal with a Twisted Fate when he comes down, but... Yeah, this totally makes sense. No one's playing anything because it's control, and we just want to kind of bank spell mana. He's got his Zilean, actually. I'll be coming down with mine as well. Hilariously, though, if I block here, I can Ravenous Flock. So if he tries to go to combat, like, I'll play the Zilean, and if he swings with his Zilean, because whatever... I don't know. We'll find out. I don't think it makes any sense for him to attack here, but I'm being a little wishful here. Let's go ahead and pick up a right. That's going to be important. Oh, I forgot they have interactions for Zilean sees himself because of time paradoxes. That's funny. You know what? I will attack. Block me. Because if he does, I can Ravenous Flock the Zilean to death. There's not a ton of value to be had there, but if he's dumb enough to do it, which he is, like, maybe I can punish. He's on 4 mana, though, as well. He could be playing Rite of Negation. I know I am. He's going to come down with Kahiri, actually. That's a pretty good one to have. We're going to Flock. So we did kind of debate him here, and he doesn't have the option of doing it back to me because he's not Noxus. He can't be playing Ravenous Flock. Let's go ahead and come down then with the Sai Scout. So we're going to go predicting. I'm taking the Swain. I'm not passing up a Swain because I have to have him to win the game. I don't have a lot of damage in this hand, unfortunately, but I do at least have another 2 to get Swain to 6. He can do some damage on his own. He's just going to go in with the Kahiri. I didn't pick a landmark, though, so this is fine. I'll just block out. So let's go ahead. We'll Chronomancer. Go ahead and get a predict going. I'd like some more damage. Leviathan is not damage. Well, it is damage, but I need to get to turn 8 before I can play it. It's round 4. And he's got his backup Zilean. Okay. I could have taken the backup Zilean, chose not to. So either way, we will Demolitionist. Just kind of play out the board here, get some damage on the Nexus, make progress towards Swain. I'd love to see a Weight of Judgment here. I would probably play it on the Kahiri, even though the damage is mostly wasted, just to get rid of him. Or just to get the Swain flip going, so... And I don't feel like I really want to play Swain until I know he can come down flipped. See if I can actually bait my opponent here. Because he was burned by this before by blocking with the Zilean. See if he wants to do it again. I bet he won't. Yeah, he knows better. So he's going to let that go. I think I probably actually will put in the Kahiris. I feel like that's a pretty solid card to have at the mid-range. So he's going to go predicting. I've got 1, 2, and that also still leaves me on Rite of Negation mana if I absolutely need it. And I think that makes more sense than trying to just, like, run out the Swain and maybe... Actually, because I already went to combat, yeah. So let's go ahead and preparations. And we have the Weight of Judgment, so I will pick that up. If he comes down to Twisted Fate, I do actually have to kill the TF. Like, there's no way around that. I have to get rid of TF. But if he doesn't, then the next unit he plays, I'm just gonna use Weight of Judgment to kill it. And then I have the option of running out the Swain, getting the flip, and then being able to start getting in for some damage. So see what he wants to do. He's sitting on 7 mana. He's got card advantage as well. Seems to happen to me quite a bit, but I play a lot of unit-heavy decks, and I just kind of run cards out, so... Okay, he's got another Ancient Preparations. Now, that's a bit of a non-bow, actually, because if you predict and then you predict again... Okay, so he's going to draw whatever it was he predicted. But if you predict and then you predict again, whatever you predicted first time goes away. So there's no reason to predict twice in a turn unless you're able to draw the other card. Into the Weight of Judgment that I knew we'd get. We have enough mana to play the Weight and the Right as well. So there is the potential for me to... okay, so Chronomancer. He's going to go predicting again. And I kind of just want to blow him up because I also have the option of running out the Swain on this turn as well. And then he's flipped. And then I can just go straight to combat on the next round. Zilean can't block. So there's some options here for me to do. Okay, into a Time Bomb. And he can't play any other units that are going to be scary for me. So I will just Swain. Oh, he gets his Zilean flip. I did not even consider that. So Zilean is going to flip here, which is pretty sad for me, as that will give him a ton of value, assuming Zilean is still alive. He's got 5 mana, I have no mana left, but I don't think anything he's playing can straight up stop Swain, or stop me from just, like, going to combat. And the biggest thing is because Swain is fearsome, the Clocklings he gets won't be able to block either, so I should be able to get the Nexus Strike and then get the 3 to everything and really do some damage. So the bomb detonates right now, because he played it. So, that's the Zilean flip. The sad thing is he's going to untap with this Zilean. And if you can untap with a Zilean, it's pretty rough. My Zilean's going to die here as well. I can't stop this other Time Bomb from going off. So hey, we got to see a Zilean flip. Not mine, of course. But we are going to get to see a Zilean flip, and you guys will get to see how crazy good he is. So here's his Clockling, here comes the bomb, my Zilean goes down. He is going to get... So I am just going to go in with a Swain because he can't block it. And I've got Rite as well if he wants to try and play any removal. And this will kill off the Clocklings. It'll deal damage to Zilean. It won't kill him, sadly, but at least it does get him into potentially Ravenous Flock later, especially if I draw another Swain. Yeah, so he is going to let it resolve. I forgot it stuns the Zilean as well. It's not that relevant. But it also does the 3 to the Nexus, which is important. So that's 7 total damage from the Swain strike alone, and it removed his Clocklings. Here's the second Kahiri. I'll Sai Scout out. I will pick up the Preservarium here because having the Elusive is going to be useful. Having the Preservarium will draw me into some more cards. Here's the Time Bomb. He's going to draw another card. And at this point, he probably will just play out the hand because all those cards he gets again. That's the beauty of Zilean here. He's on 5 mana here. He's going to let it resolve. The Time Bomb's going to go off. He's going to get both those cards back, though, so he does have that Time Bomb again. He may just be able to kill the Swain off of just Time Bomb, Time Bomb, Time Bomb, so... Oh, it's Riptide Rex. Cool. These do 2 to a unit, right? So, 2 of them are targeting Swain. I can stop Swain from dying. Oh, this stops all of them! I forgot his Rite of Negation! Not deny! Let's go! Oh my goodness. That's the first time I think that's ever come up, that it stops all opponent spells. So he tapped out for Riptide Rex, and Riptide Rex does nothing for him. I mean, he's going to get to swing in, and I'm going to have to block it, unfortunately. Probably with the Sai Scout here. Yes, I'm going to take some damage, unfortunately, but, like, stopping the Riptide Rex trigger, huge. The biggest problem, though, is he does get to do it again on the next turn, because he will get a Riptide Rex back in hand. So I think I legitimately have to take this second Rite of Negation to stop it. He's probably sitting on his own, but, like, if he taps out for Riptide Rex, he shouldn't have mana? No, because he'll have enough mana to do it again, because he's getting +1 on this round. So he's got the Riptide Rex back. He has a block for the Swain. That's the sad thing. It will kill the Riptide Rex, but that's not enough for me to want to do it. We'll pass it. We'll see if he wants to Riptide Rex. Again, he's got the right, but at least I can make him play it. A lot of control mirrors today, I gotta say. I think we had the sort of mid-rangey Gangplank Sejuani deck, but it's opened and closing here with a control mirror. So yeah, so he's trying to think, does he have a right in hand to stop this? I think that's the only reason he wouldn't... No, because he doesn't have a Plunder Proc yet. So that's why he's not playing a Riptide Rex now. The question is, he can't get in for any damage. So I'm wondering what he's thinking about. Okay, he's going to come down to the TF. So refill a spell mana, draw a card. I'm not a big fan of that, but he can't Riptide Rex now. I think he's probably looking for another Time Bomb. Yeah, okay. Actually, this is pretty good, because this turns into a Swain's Ravenous Flock, so we do have the ability to just kill a Zilean here if he plays enough cards. But the fact that he didn't... He's going to Shaped Stone. He knows he's getting it back this turn anyways. He's got a Bone Skewer. So I do think we actually have to do this, because I do need to keep the Leviathan around. Rite of Negation. No, he's got a second Bone Skewer. I'm kind of surprised he's playing it in this deck, but I guess that works. He's going to get, I think, both of them back. Swain still can't attack because Kahiri is too big. That's so brutal. He runs out the Preservarium. That is going to be the Riptide Rex, but he doesn't have any way of dealing 1 damage to me at the start of the round, so he probably won't play Riptide Rex until he can attack. He does get a lot of cards. He's got a lot of cards. Okay, that's non-ideal. The bright side is he has not done Nexus damage to me, so yeah, so he's going to go in. So what we can do... We can block here. I'm going to Fervor Swain. Oh, that doesn't actually remove the Kahiri. So we have to block here. We have to block here. He's got the Bone Skewer and the Shape Stone, which I can't do a whole lot about. But I have to stop him from getting a Plunder Proc because I think I just died a Riptide Rex. Yeah, so this makes sense. That's okay, though, because I have Fervor on deck. So get rid of the TF. Keep the Swain. His Kahiri will still be alive, sadly, but Yep, there's Bone Skewer, and the problem is he's got a second Bone Skewer in hand. So even if I counter this, right, even if I play the counter spell, it doesn't matter because he can play a second Bone Skewer and just strike anyways. I'm pretty sure I'm dead here. We're just gonna... Oh, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna make him do it because maybe this will limit the damage he can do on this turn. But, like, having two Bone Skewers always in hand is a pretty good combo. Turns out. Yeah, so there it is. And this is what I'm saying about Zilean, like, never running out of cards, right? Like, you don't care about playing anything, even units. This works for units as well, because you just get it back. So, yeah, so Swain is dead, and with him, I'm pretty sure my odds of winning the game are dead as well. Unless I can top deck into another Leviathan to grab a Swain to maybe look to close things out. Actually, just a Swain would work right now because I do have the option of swinging him in. TF can't block, Zilean can't block. We can kill them both on the Swain Nexus Strike. Okay, he's going for the pick a card. Because all those cards he gets are fleeting, so he may as well play it. Okay, so he draws his two. He draws another one. He's going to get all of his Zilean value off the back of that. Like, oh no, he's not... Oh, because it's only non-fleeting, that's right. But he's reloaded the hand, so... And this is not a card at all that I care about. But, hey, I'll play her, I guess. Get in for some damage. Maybe it'll matter. I would need, like, double Fervor after this point, though. And even that's not enough damage. I would need one more point of damage someplace. The biggest issue I have is just the card advantage. I mean, just straight up, he has way more cards than me. Can I maybe deck him? Nah, he's got 27 cards left. The bomb's padding him out. Just raw cast Monster Harpoon. Yeah, sure. I can't do anything about that, I guess, so... I'm surprised he cared enough to stop the Black Powder charge, but maybe he's figuring I could maybe get in for some damage. There's the Kahiri, so I can't block with the... Or I can't attack with the Legion Saboteur. Playing out the Chronomancer to go ahead and predict. Like, I think the game is over, unfortunately, guys. Like, unfortunately, he got the Zilean flip. I didn't consider that when I was kind of playing my cards. And that ended up being a huge deal, as you can tell, because Zilean just kind of says, you get a ton of value. Right. Twisted Fate flips. He did draw a ton of cards on the last turn. So, and TF's another card where if he flips, you just kind of win the game. So, we'll see what I have. Okay, it's a Fervor. I'm going to try to do something here. But if he has an answer for it, which he does, because Monster Harpoon, he's just going to stop it with a Monster Harpoon. There's nothing I can do. So, like, he's going to win the game here, regardless of what happens. So... Yeah, so that is a much better control deck. Well, okay, I can't say that. I think the biggest thing that helped him out there is he got the Zilean flip. My Zilean died. I didn't have that second one because I think I opted for something else instead off of like an early predict. And maybe that would have made a difference when you got the second Zilean, hitting the time bombs off of the predict. But definitely the card draw, you can kind of see how effective that can be. Predict can help, but you only see 3 cards, whereas drawing a card just gives you more value. And if you draw time bomb, great. So... Unfortunate, not a good record here today, guys. I think we won 1 game with this deck, so that's a little disappointing, but I like this deck. It's fun to play. Obviously, there are some more tweaks I can make. We probably will cut the Sai Scouts. I don't think they do enough for the deck, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it at least, and if you have any suggestions for how I can improve it, please let me know that down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, especially if you played a similar deck to this in the past. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you really enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing. I upload a Runeterra video every Sunday and regular League of Legends content over the rest of the week. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later.